The Apple Pencil? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Hello guys, how are you? David DeFranco here from davidthefranco.com. Today's video is all about the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil. Now, this is going to be hopefully a somewhat brief video of my favorite apps that I've used so far that take best advantage of the Apple Pencil. Okay, so for this video, I will be concentrating on Adobe Sketch, Adobe Draw, Photoshop Fix, Procreate, Zenbrush 2, and finally, Pigment. So jumping right into it, let's open up Adobe Sketch. This is actually a favorite of mine. I love Adobe Sketch. You have your option of pencil, pen, marker, water cool, all that good stuff, and of course an eraser. And you can easily decrease and increase the size simply by dragging down and dragging up. It's very intuitive. Boom, erase, it's that simple. Now let's go to the pencil tool, and like most iPad Pro apps that support the Apple Pencil, you can actually lean on the iPad Pro naturally, as if you're using an actual sketchbook. And that is one of the biggest selling points for me so far. This is just simply amazing. You can get up close and personal and just draw. And it's very satisfying, extremely accurate, and most important of all, it works. It's a lot of fun, and I'm honestly loving Adobe Sketch. Now, what's really cool about the Apple Pencil compared to other styluses I've recently used is that the Apple Pencil is super sensitive. Now let's make this nice and dark for this video's purpose. That way you guys can actually see what I'm working on. First of all, let's erase that. Now we're on a graphite pencil, and again, it's the darkest it can be. But what's really cool about the Apple Pencil is this. If you press ever so slightly, you will get the lightest shade of gray. It is simply incredible. And as you artists know, this is very, very important for details, and especially shading. All right, let's erase this. And of course, you do have the pen tool. You can choose a variety of colors. This color wheel should look familiar to my fellow graphic designers. It's pretty much similar to any color wheel you use, whether you're in Photoshop, Illustrator, all that good stuff. So let's choose an actual color rather than gray, because gray is not that exciting. Let's choose a nice bright red. Actually, this is more of like an orangish red. And boom. I really do love it very much. All right, let's erase that. And of course, just like the pencil, the harder you push, the more intensity you're going to receive. Now, as you can see, I got some accidental input. It's not perfect, but keep in mind, I am working from an awkward angle, and this rarely happens to me. Of course, it's just gonna happen because I happen to be recording a video. That's typically how this stuff works, but it's not a big deal. You simply erase it, and boom, and you're back to your art. Now, of course, you can push very lightly, and you get a slight stroke, and you can shrink that even further, like so. Push harder, and I don't know if you can shade with a pen. You really can. I mean, you do get a lighter stroke, but if you're looking to shade, you're obviously gonna be using the pencil tool, which as you can see, does a fantastic job. Anyway, there's Adobe Sketch. This is just scratching the surface, no pun intended, but believe me, download it, it's free. And what's really nice about Adobe Sketch is it is actually consistent with the other Adobe apps, such as Adobe Draw. That's a little squiggle thing I did. This is just like Adobe Sketch, but it's obviously more focused on illustration, hence the tools over here. You have more tools that are better suited for, well, illustration, hence the name Adobe Draw, like marker, pen tool, and everything. And everything just feels more rich and vibrant in this app. For instance, let's go with a nice deep blue, kind of like a navy blue-ish. There you go, that's about right. And you can just draw. Now, as you can see, hopefully in this video, this leaves a more realistic stroke as you start the pencil and let go of the pencil. You get a thinner stroke on each end, which is really, really neat. You see how it starts out thin, it gets thicker in the middle, then thin at the end. That is really, really important for illustration, and it's simply something I appreciate very much. I mean, Adobe is the king of design apps, so it does not surprise me whatsoever that they put so much attention into these apps. and I'm just very pleased with it. Now, I gotta be honest, I'm not that good at drawing, and that's exactly why I'm a much bigger fan of Adobe Sketch when compared to Adobe Draw. Sketch to me is more just having fun, and hence the name, sketching, and just seeing what comes out of those ideas. Adobe Draw is meant for the true illustration majors out there, the illustrators. That is not me, but still I have it on here because one of my resolutions for 2016 is to better teach myself how to draw. Okay, so speeding this up a bit, let's open up Photoshop Fix. This is probably the closest you're going to get to Photoshop on the iPad Pro from Adobe, besides Procreate, which Adobe does not make, but I'll talk about that next. So Photoshop Fix is really cool, and for this video's purpose, I'm going to use this example that Adobe has preloaded in the app. So as you can see down here, we have tools such as crop, adjust, liquefy, healing, smooth, light color, paint, defocus, and vignette, which might all sound familiar if you're a regular user of Photoshop like I am, especially the healing tool. Now what this does is it basically reads the information around a particular spot on your graphic or photo, and it tries to replicate those points of information to try to cover up a certain spot. For instance, let's shrink this a bit. Let's make this nice and soft. And now we are going to erase this logo by simply drawing over it. And boom, it did a pretty good job. You can obviously go over it a little bit to fine tune it. And boom, it works very well. And if you want to move over, you simply use 2 fingers, and you can get closer if you want to. And the same deal for here. Now this is a big spot, so it's probably going to mess up a little bit. Actually, that did quite well. And you can fine tune that, zoom out, and honestly, you would never know that those 2 logos were previously there. That's how impressive this app is. Now this is stuff I do all the time in Photoshop, but if for whatever reason I had my iPad Pro with me and not my MacBook Pro, this is an excellent and free option to keep in mind. And of course, I am just scratching the surface. We also have the clone stamp down here, which is one of my favorite tools in Photoshop. We can basically tap the image to, that's right, you have to tap it, and then you can clone that part. This isn't something I use on here. I'm more of a fan of the spot healing tool on this app, but I use a clone stamp tool more in the actual Photoshop application on my Mac Pro and MacBook Pro. Anyway, there is Photoshop Fix, a very basic look at what the app is capable of. And again, it's free. It's consistent with Adobe Sketch and Adobe Draw, so the interface is consistent across each and every app. And that to me is a big deal. All right, moving on. And yes, I'm talking a little more than I expected, but these are such great tools, so I want to say as much as I can within maybe like a 15-minute limit. So going on to Procreate, as you can see, this is a monstrosity right here, but believe me, you can create some amazing pieces of art, such as this. This is not my creation. As you can see, I already scribbled on his head. I feel kind of bad, but it's whatever. But this is an excellent example, as is this. These are actual creations that artists have made using Procreate. So if you truly know what you're doing with art, this app will blow your mind, especially when using something like the Apple Pencil, because this has full support for pressure sensitivity, tilt, and all that good stuff. So let's get a gallery, let's create a new piece of artwork. And of course, as you can see over here, you have tons of canvas sizes. Let's do 4K, just because, you know, 4K is kind of the hottest thing nowadays. Let's go to the paintbrush tool, and you can choose all these different brushes, from sketching to inking to painting, artistic, airbrushing, textures, abstract, charcoals, elements, and the list goes on and on. Let's do charcoals, and let's do willow charcoal, and let's just draw. Now as you can see, it's very soft, but I had to push harder for it to appear, and it's extremely accurate. Now let's shade. Boom, look at that. Now keep in mind, I have barely used this app, but aside from Adobe, this is the closest you will ever get to having Photoshop on your iPad Pro. I mean, look at this. You have an extensive amount of brushes to choose from. All these tools. You have an eraser. I'm pretty sure that's the eraser. Yeah, eraser. You have layer support, so you can indeed create layers, rearrange them, edit them, all that good stuff. And of course, change the color. Let me actually try to see this from the side. Oh, here we go. I was looking at the wrong section. And let's go to nice technical pencil. That's more my speed. And of course you can zoom in for detail. And just to show you how accurate this is, look, I'm tracing this perfectly. And this is something you probably had trouble with a typical stylus, because keep in mind, this is not your typical stylus. This is highly advanced technology. And if you want proof of that, just do some research and you will see actual artists praising the crap out of this thing. It truly is an amazing tool and it can only get better, which is just awesome. Anyway, going back to my iPad Pro's home screen, let's open up Zenbrush 2. This is one of my favorite apps. This is more of a calligraphy app and you're just gonna have fun with a bunch of ink. You have the choice between black and red down there. And this is more of a lenient app. You can just draw ink and boom, look at that. It is very satisfying and hence the name Zenbrush 2. It's meant to relax you and of course you can lean on it and it does a fantastic job at not recognizing inputs from your palm. But technically it does recognize your input. It kind of goes both ways if you know what I mean. It doesn't show it on the screen, but it knows you're on the screen. Yeah, I guess there's two ways of explaining that. Anyway, let's delete this. You get a little fancy ripple animation, which is pretty cool. Now let's choose wet ink and check this out. The ink, it actually runs. You see that little tail? It runs even after you lift the pencil from your iPad Pro's display. Simply incredible. Now you're seeing a delay and that's perfectly normal because, again guys, it's important to keep in mind this is simulating ink, so that's why you're seeing such a delay when compared to apps like Adobe Sketch, Adobe Draw, and Procreate. You are supposed to see the delay because, well, you're messing with ink and it's as if you're working with real calligraphy. And it's simply very satisfying, so check it out. I believe it's like $2 or $3, I forget, I bought it so long ago, but it's definitely one of my favorite apps as mentioned. Okay, so going into the last app, this is probably one of my least favorite apps because it's more just coloring, which is fine with me. I mean, it's cool if you just want to get your color on, but this app is not nearly as advanced as the apps I just explained. But either way, Pigment is definitely very cool. It is free, but if you want to buy the more premium colorings, the drawings or whatever, you'll see a little diamond here. So let's see the Happy Hanukkah one. And there is a 7-day trial, which I have not used yet. But you can sign up for just $5 for 1 month. But guys, you know what? To get an idea of this app, I promise you there are plenty of sketches to choose from. So let's go to 2016. It downloads it, and as you can see, it's very snappy. You can choose between your tools over here, markers, pens, all that good stuff. And you can just color. Look at that. Very satisfying. Now, as you can see, this is gonna take a ton of time, and that is exactly why I like the paintbrush tool so much. You can literally just tap it and fill in. Look at that. Extremely quick and accurate. I love it. Now you might be saying, but David, that's cheating. Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of is, but once you're done, you know, it's pretty satisfying. And as you can see, I've already done 2. Here's the first one. Happy New Year. So there you go for 2016. And there was another one I did. I can't find it right now in the app. Maybe it was animals. I don't know, but I did export it to my photos. And there it is actually. It just happened to be there because I was showing it in the weekend vlog. And that is the second one I colored. I actually did that at a friend's house because I had some free time. And well, you know what? That's exactly what Pigment is all about. Free time, relaxing yourself, and just coloring, having fun. And by the way, if you do pay for it, I believe this Pigment watermark does go away. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Anyway, guys, there you have it. A somewhat brief look at the iPad Pro and Apple Pencil. Now, as I've said many times, I'm going to say it again, I am still just scratching the surface. These two tools together, especially the Apple Pencil, these two tools together can produce some amazingly awesome results. So, before you pass judgment on the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil, which by the way, this retails for $99, which I don't think is bad. Now, the keyboard's overpriced. That's $169. But $100 for a stylus this technologically advanced, I don't think that's bad at all, especially if you'll be making money with it. As I said in a past video, spend money to make money. But anyway, before passing judgments, I just ask you to get over to an Apple store, Best Buy, wherever, and try this for yourself because it truly is amazing. I am loving this Apple Pencil, and I look forward to putting it to use in the coming months. So guys, thank you so much for watching. You can find both of these devices on davidsthings.com. As always, your support is much appreciated, and I will see you in my next video.